Welcome to the News9 Plus show on the world's first news and current affairs OTT platform, News9 Plus. 2023 is the last year before the 2024 general elections. This is the reason why many have called it the semi-final year. Now, in May 2023, we saw the Karnataka elections. The Congress dislodged the BJP from the only state it was in power in the south. But in elections to the 5 states later in 2023, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh, Telangana and Mizoram, the BJP stormed back, capturing power in 3 crucial heartland states. Now, the important thing about these elections is that the BJP went in without announcing a chief ministerial candidate in any of these main states. Prime Minister Modi had pitched himself as the person that he wanted people to vote for. 2023 clearly is the year of Modi. And joining me to discuss this phenomenon and the other major political developments of the year is Amitabh Tiwari, political strategist and commentator, and my colleague BRIJESH Pandey. Amitabh, welcome to the News9 Plus show.
Thank you. Thank you.
Amitabh, I want to start by asking you, what do you think was the biggest political event of 2023 and how is it going to shape 2024?
I think the biggest political event of 2023 is the 3-0 scoreline which the BJP has got against the Congress party in the Hindi heartland states. See, a lot of people would say that the BJP already had 162 of the 65 Loksabha seats on offer. So it has maxed out and the results perhaps do not mean anything significant or addition of new boundaries for the BJP. But what needs to understand is that these 3 states or these 65 Lok Sabha seats are part of the overall 190 seats where there is a BJP versus Congress direct contest.
Right.
In 2019, BJP won 175, Congress 15. The vote share gap which the BJP enjoys or the lead is more than 20% on these seats. And the third ranked party, whichever party it was, got only 4% vote share. So what does it mean? It means that on these seats, the India alliance parties do not have any significant presence. These seats are largely a BJP versus Congress contest,
right,
where the Congress has to fight on its own. Yeah. So this 3-0 scoreline signals to the voter, to the cadre, to the leaders and to the undecided voters that Congress is not in a position to defeat the BJP again in these 200 odd seats,
right,
and hence may not be able to defeat BJP in the ensuing Lok Sabha elections because without being in these states, it is possible for the Congress or the India alliance to come back to power in 2024.
Right, important point there. And Brijesh, you know, as we were speaking just a while ago about the Pran Pratishthan, the events running up to the Pran Pratishthan, while this is underway, Rahul Gandhi is going to be undertaking his Padyatra from the east to the west. What is the kind of message that the Congress is trying to send out with that Padyatra? Even as a time that, you know, Prime Minister Modi is going to be there at Ayodhya.
See, Sandeep, the irony is that, like, you know, as Amitabh was saying, that, you know, they've lost the 3 states. Right now, barring Himachal, the Congress is has vanished from the northern states' political landscape.
Right.
Completely. Barring Himachal.
Right.
And you know, the emphasis of Congress in the state of Manipur is good because it helps you charter a narrative. It helps you build a narrative.
Right.
But what is the outcome of that narrative? You know, if you talk cold political analysis, that gets you 1 Lok Sabha seat.
Right.
Even of that, you're not sure whether you will win or not.
Yes.
So from there you start. It is good to embarrass BJP in debate. It's good to embarrass Prime Minister Modi in debates. It's fantastic. But will it yield any real political dividend? It is not going to.
It's not clear. Exactly. And you know, Brijesh, the terminology of that Bharat Nyaya Yatra, I mean, that you're recalling a scheme that the Congress went to the 2019 elections with. Why would they revive a thing that was discarded in 2019?
Honestly speaking, you know, they should have started it much before that because of my conversation I had with, you know, senior leaders of the I.N.D.I.A coalition. You know, they said that Congress wasted 2 crucial months in run up to these elections, and they have
Yes.
lost all those elections miserably. So
Right.
frankly speaking,
Yeah.
we are sitting on 30th of December.
Yes.
2 months left before the
Right.
elections are announced.
Right.
So they say that we don't have the bandwidth, we don't have the time
Right.
to launch a counter narrative.
Right.
Yatra, Shatra and all is good if it
Yes.
is yielding you any
Yeah.
kind of political dividend.
Right.
Elections or the results in Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. And mind you, Sandeep, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh are the two states where, people fancied Congress chances.
Yes.
Almost every political analyst worth his salt said that they are coming back in
Right.
Chhattisgarh and it's going to be a close contest in Madhya Pradesh. When the result came out, it
Yeah,
stunned
it was a
everyone.
landslide. In
It
fact,
was a landslide.
we're joined by Gautam Mukherjee, senior journalist. Gautam, welcome to the News9 Plus show. We were talking about the developments of 2023 and particularly, the 3-0 score in the state elections in the Hindi heartland. What is the kind of narrative that the Congress is trying to craft out even at this late stage with the Bharat Nyaya Yatra, where Prime Minister on the one hand is going to be in Ayodhya at the Pran Pratishthan, and Rahul Gandhi is going to be walking across or indeed riding in a vehicle from the east of India to the west.
He is trying to grab some of the eyeballs because the coverage on Ayodhya is almost blanket and has
Right.
begun a few days ago.
Right.
And
Yeah.
every channel is very laudatory and is concentrating on it.
Right.
By the time we get to January 22nd,
Yeah.
it is going to be absolutely nothing else on the news unless something very unusual happens.
Yes.
It's going to be frenzy.
As for the Yatra,
So, yeah.
it is a spent idea.
Right.
Though Rahul Gandhi never got out of his polo shirt and his gabardine slacks,
Yeah.
winter, summer notwithstanding,
Right.
and he's going to try it one more time.
Right.
Well, I think they're bereft of ideas,
Mm-hmm.
and they hope that in the course of the Yatra, at least
Yeah.
there'll be some media coverage.
Right. And in fact, Amitabh, as BRIJESH was saying, this is all just, sound and fury signifying nothing, because the electoral results, the yields that the Congress could get from this is very minimal. So it just seems to be a kind of, a yatra for the sake of doing it, for doing something at least, right? But what do you think is what are the challenges before the BJP in the next couple of months? It looks like they are well poised to win the next election, at least get a simple majority. But what are the big challenges that could actually happen? Because a lot of Congress leaders, in fact, are saying that, listen, this was exactly what you said in 2004, and where, you had the India Shining campaign, and look what happened. We came back, we were there for 10 years. Could something like that happen?
Well, see, challenges are there, of course, that the party could become overconfident, especially the cadre and the leadership. And there is a complacency angle, of course, involved in
Right.
all of this. See, I always believe that your biggest strength is always your biggest weakness. So, Modi is the strength of BJP, but he
Yeah.
also signifies the weakness of the party in the sense that the party is a lot dependent upon him,
Yes.
especially in the national election. In 2019, 1 out of every 3 voter who voted for the BJP
Yeah.
voted because of the Modi factor.
Right.
1 out of 3. So now there is a lot of debate whether the brand Modi, which is still popular, is in which stage.
Yeah.
There are 4 stages of a brand: introduction, growth, maturity, decline. So where is
Yeah.
he exactly poised?
Right.
Because that would determine the future of the BJP.
Right.
In terms of the repeat of 2004 India Shining campaign, see, there's a vast difference between 2004 and 2024. In 2004, the BJP was dependent upon allies.
Allies,
The
that's right.
BJP had only 180 odd seats,
Yeah.
if I remember. Okay? And around 100 seats, it was dependent upon the NDA allies to
Yeah.
perform. But today, the BJP has a simple majority of its own.
Right.
So it is not dependent upon any ally as such.
Right.
In 2004, or in fact in 2009, the BJP did not have a high number of seats in UP.
Yeah.
Whereas today, it is having almost 80% of the seats in the top state of the country, which sends the maximum number of people. In 2004, again, if we see, Vajpayee was a brand, of course.
Yeah.
as himself, but BJP was again dependent upon two people to attract a large section of votes. One was a more consensus liberal Vajpayee,
Yeah.
who was leading the coalition and thus the
The unifier. Yeah.
voter. He was attracting all those people, whereas Advani ji used to appeal to the Hindutva voter. Now here, in terms of Modi has a much bigger appeal in terms of a brand.
Right.
Because he is not only a Hindutva leader,
Yeah.
he is a leader of the OBC, he is a champion of the poor,
Right. Right.
a business industry leader, a
Yes.
Vishwaguru leader, a masculine leader, a nationalist.
Right.
There are so many segments
Yeah.
which attracts voters from.
Absolutely.
So the pie of the BJP, which was earlier at that point of time perhaps 20-25%, is today we are seeing it is 37%.
Right.
And out of that, 12% is the Modi factor. So the
Yeah.
pie of the party has increased probably just from 20 to 25, but
Right.
the personal premium is 12%.
Right.
which
That's
may-
the brand Modi premium.
brand Modi premium is 12%. And if you go by the India Today Mood of the Nation survey held in August, it says 44% of the people who are voting for the BJP is because of Modi.
Yes.
So from 33%,
Yeah.
we witnessing an increase up to 44%.
Right.
So the brand is fairly powerful,
Yeah.
and the party is not dependent upon any other party to get it past the halfway mark.
Yes,
So that's
yes.
the
In fact, Amitabh,
Opposition is the weekend.
when you're talking about brand Modi, I was just reminded of your namesake in the 70s. He was called the one-man industry. That India Today called him the one-man industry because he was doing everything. He was the actor, he was the comedian, he was the villain, he was the everything all in one, and that kind of. But as you rightly pointed out, he is the BJP's biggest strength, and he could indeed be the biggest weakness as well, because the questions will begun to be asked soon, after Modi who. And Brijesh, the slogan that's emerging now very clearly is, of course, the Modi ki guarantee, the one that came out of the state elections, and I think the party plans to use that in the general elections as well. But this thing of 400 par, 400 seats, how are they going to get 50% of the vote share when you have large parts of South India where the BJP is not a force to reckon with?
Well, I think, post-election, somebody said that how do you see 2024 election? I say, it is the only two equations in play, either 350 plus or 400 plus.
Right.
So there is what. See, the point is that, as you said, that, the Congress are saying that you could see a repeat of 2004.
Right.
The fact of the matter is that, then they have to believe in magic.
Yeah.
Because politically, Congress is at its nadir.
Right.
They are at 44.
Yeah.
They are completely wiped out from all northern states,
Right.
which contributes a sizable chunk as far as which sends maximum number of member parliaments
Right.
to the Loksabha.
Yeah.
The Congress is not only bereft of idea. The Congress has absolutely zero idea how to
Yes.
go ahead and tackle this guy.
Right.
If you remember Bihar election,
Yeah.
the reason why people started saying that Tejasvi has matured beyond his age
Yeah.
is because he stuck to his narrative.
Right.
He did not allow BJP to dictate his narrative, and that is the reason why he came. There are several other factors.
Came very
but one
close
of
to
they
capturing
never
power,
allowed
yes.
his narrative to be hijacked
Yeah.
by the BJP.
Right.
The Congress at best is reacting to what the BJP is doing.
Right.
And that is the biggest problem which the Congress is facing right now.
Right.
They don't have leadership. They
Right.
don't have regional satraps
Yeah.
who owe their existence to the central leadership.
Right.
So there's what happened to Kamal Nath's and Ashok Gehlot's and Bhupesh Baghel of the
Yes.
world. They refused to toe the diktats of the central leadership, ran their
Right.
own campaign, lost badly, and the Congress ultimately
Yeah, so they
suffered
were
a lot.
bereft of ideas,
They're
as you
bereft of
said.
ideas. So
And Gautam, do you believe, as Brijesh was saying, the Congress needs to believe in magic to come back in 2024? And what kind of shape and form is this magic, how is it going to play out?
Well, a lot has to do with the I.N.D.I.A alliance, which even just months before the actual election, it's very unclear who is doing what to whom, how will they seat share, will they compete against each other. At the present moment, it looks like an uncooked meal.
Right.
And so the chances of them putting this together in the time that is available, notwithstanding that they can probably do without a prime ministerial candidate. at this point in time. But can they get at least 100 seats between them? It looks unlikely.
100 seats at least. Amitabh, if Prime Minister Modi comes back, it will probably be the first time that India has seen this kind of electoral verdict, that one Prime Minister coming back for 3 successive terms. We've not seen that since Pandit Nehru in 1962. How is that going to transform the Indian political landscape in 2024? A 3rd term for Modi.
See, a 3rd term for Modi would mean that, I mean, we are already seeing signs of it in his outreach currently, is that there will be an effort on the part of Modi to increase the vote base.
Right.
That we are saying in terms of an appeal to the Pasmanda Muslims and the Christian community, because he would want to leave a legacy, leave a mark, and emerge as a statesman next only to Nehru. So we will see a more accommodative, a more liberal BJP in the coming days if he comes back to power. And this is contrary to what many people would believe, that Yogi Adityanath is going to be his successor. I don't think so. That is going to likely to happen, because in India you need a more liberal person at the top post, and BJP also understands this. Correct. I mean, if it is being able to get almost 50% of the vote share of the Hindus, and let's say if by any chance it is able to also appeal to the minorities, then it becomes a win-win situation, and a strategy which will lead it to rule for years. Correct. In a country like India. So I think minority appeasement, I would not say, but trying to woo minorities and also bring them on to the bandwagon. And of course his economic dream, which is of making India a developed economy by 2047. So we will also see many steps in that direction, bringing up the people at the bottom of the pyramid, because Garib Kalyan has been the focus of Prime Minister Modi, and he has said that Garib is the only jati, or perhaps one of the jatis.
Brajesh, what is the 3rd term for Prime Minister Modi? What is it going to be? A accommodative BJP, a more liberal, government, or how does that play out?
No, I mean, I broadly agree with what Amitabh is saying, but on one aspect I don't agree with him, which is like, I have my serious doubts about the liberal angle, because it's not like for the first time the BJP has made an outreach to Pasmanda Muslims.
Yes.
But when we went out to do stories, I traveled across Lucknow, and they, one of the recurring phrase was that when the local BJP karyakartas talk about the Pancharwalas and the others, we are that Pancharwala which the Prime Minister is trying to make an outreach to. So I think to get out of the tiger, it would require a bigger, a much more surer skill set than what we are witnessing right now. If you remember, Mohan Bhagwat, when he said, I don't remember when the last time I saw the kind of abuse which was hurled towards Mohan Bhagwat when he made the statement that Hindus should stop looking for mosque under, or for mandir under every mosque. Yes. From that second, the kind of social media fury which was unleashed on him clearly showed that there is a solid hardline fringe which is not going to be subjugated just because the leader one day decided to be liberal. So how does he tame that? I think is going to be a big challenge as far as his 3rd term is concerned. Right.
And Gautam, how does this? How do you think a 3rd term of Prime Minister Modi is going to play out? Do you think that it's going to be broad-based, or as Brijesh said, that they will have to kind of cater to the hardcore Hindutva fringe?
What has already happened is an appeal to nationalism, patriotism, Hindutva as part of the mix, inclusiveness, welfare, lifting the extreme poor out of the poverty trap. So all of this put together, and of course, a massive emphasis on infrastructure and modernization. This is transforming the country. Also, defense manufacturing, a very high level of diplomacy, effectiveness, is coming across. So I think it would be simplistic to talk in terms of a Hindu Rashtra right away.
Right.
But which way is it headed? Possibly there in that direction, but only by popular demand.
Right.
And it is coming along incrementally.
Right. So it is very clearly the year of Modi 2023, and as my co-panelist just said, it looks like 2024 is going to be the year of Modi as well. "2023 was also the year of cinema comebacks. Bollywood was down and out in 2022. Southern cinema was the flavor of the season. But 2023 saw an avalanche of Bollywood blockbusters. Take for instance Shah Rukh Khan. He hadn't had a hit in nearly 8 years. He came back with a hat-trick of blockbusters. And movies like Animal and Gadar 2 were part of a wave of mega blockbusters which experts say have earned the industry over 12,000 crore. It's the biggest Bollywood year ever. And joining me to discuss this huge turnaround in Bollywood's fortunes are film critic Mayank Shekhar, trade analyst Girish Wankhede, and of course my colleague Geeta Datta. Mayank, Girish, welcome to the News9 Plus show.
Hi, thank you.
Mayank, did Shah Rukh Khan save Bollywood this year?
Totally, completely, absolutely. Like there was this big gap he'd had in terms of figuring out what the audiences want, and it turned out he didn't just revive his own career; he ended up reviving Bollywood. And the reason I'm saying that is because it really started with January, isn't it? 2023 January is when Pathan came out. It seemed like everything was rather bleak, and he figured out exactly what people want.
Right.
And he didn't do it keeping in mind a post-pandemic world. He did keeping in mind his own career, but he ended up reviving Bollywood alongside.
Right. 3 hits in a... I'm trying to remember the last time anyone delivered 3 blockbusters in a row. We'll come back to that a little later, but I want to ask Girish. Girish, what explains this massive 12,000 crore box office year ever? I mean, it's good films or an audience that's just tired of watching OTT and television.
No, it is actually the great content, because we had a bad year last 2022, and this year has been amazing with, as mindset, with Pathan, and then we had Jawan and Animal, Gadar 2, Leo, Jailer, Tiger 3, Salar, Rocky and Rani Ki Prem Kahani,
Right.
Adi Purush, Donkey. So if you see, there are more than 10 films which has collected more than 100 crores.
Right.
And there are average and semi-average films which have done, like films like Sam Bahadur and Oh My God 2, which were released with the biggest films, are also able to do almost 100 crores.
There was space for everyone basically in this year.
So if you see, this has been one year where you have got more than 10 blockbusters.
Right.
Then we have got more than 4 or 5 super hits.
Yeah.
More than 3 average hits. And the numbers of disaster were very less this year.
Yeah.
There are only 3 or 4 disasters like Shehzada or Tali or Bheed. And beside this, everything has worked on box office.
Everything's worked, Geeta, and we were talking about this last year. Remember this story that you had done about the death of the industry? Like, it's literally, it was the end for Bollywood, and people said it would take decades to recover. But what do you make of this string of successes like Mayank and
they had
Girish
to revive. I mean, we've
They've
seen
hit so rock bottom that the only way to go
and
was
also
up.
Hindi films have gone up and down. Like if you look at the history of Hindi films, they've gone up and down. So they, thankfully they did it this year because they had terrible 2 years.
Yeah.
And Pan-India was the word last year.
Yeah.
Everybody was talking about it.
Of course.
It was the South Indian films in some sense that sort of led the thing because of action and all of that.
Yeah.
And like Mayank said, he didn't plan it, but he got it, Shah Rukh got into it, and then if you've seen, most of the hit films are action-oriented films that have really done well.
That lend well to big screen adaptations. And
he's not mentioned PS2, which is again, big canvases and big action.
Right. And Mayank, Shah Rukh was one of the oldest action heroes at what, 58? But just wait a minute. There's Sunny Deol at 66, right, with Gadar 2.
Yes.
What explains this phenomenon again? I mean, guys who were like, Amitabh Bachchan was playing a father when he was 55 or 56.
Yes.
And what explains Shah Rukh and Sunny Deol at, eternal like Rajnikants, Bollywood Rajnikants?
Well, in the case of Sunny Deol, of course, it's the fact of Gadar, right?
Yeah.
The fact that as a franchise is sort of still alive in public imagination, nobody could have expected those numbers. I know for a fact the producers are not. All right. Only the director did. He had some massive conviction that the whole world's going to come and watch Gadar 2, and they did. Right. But I think eventually what's happening right now, Sandeep, is is the fact that will be probably look back at some point.
Geeta, is it what Mayank says? You believe that it's actually we are in the middle of an event like this where we can't really kind of put our finger on what's going on right now, and it'll probably be written off many years later. I'm sure Mayank's going to come out with a book.
One-liner, yes, Angry Young Man or whatever. But for me, Action is Back would be the headline currently.
Action is back,
and like how. So that is the biggest headline. Seeing all these films that have really done well. But I do want to ask Mayank. Mayank, how do you look at the content that is really doing well? Have we gone back to the Angry Young Man phase, 70s, where we picked up topics and, made films with action? Or have we gone back to the 80s kind of films, which really, the less talked about 80s decade of Hindi film, the better. But currently, how do you look at the content in the kind of films that are doing really well?
So here it is, right? I mean, of the top 8, all of them are hardcore action blockbusters, right? But you take Pathan, Jawan, Leo, Jailer, Animal, Tiger 3, you can fill in the blanks, but you know what I mean. And all that's common between them is the fact there's some madness going on the screen, which could well be a function of the fact that that's what we want to see on a big screen, right? We don't want to see intimate dramas on a big screen anymore. We already have that on our OTT platforms, and that's what our evening is going to be if we're not stepping out, right? So that's one way of looking at it. The other way of looking at it is that the fact that action has always been the genre. So we call it Angry Young Man, but they were really watching action movies. Amitabh Bachchan movies were just action movies, and so were the 80s that followed, and of course, a lot of people did not like that whole phase. If anything, for at least 4 or 5 of the top 8, these are really 80s movies.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it, actually. Girish, we spoke about this some time ago. Sorry, Mike, I'm going to go ask Girish this about the Marvelification of Bollywood. We talked about all these new Marvel Comics franchises that have been coming through, like Leo, for instance. Leo is part of another franchise. You have Jailer is another one. Do you think we are in the phase where Hollywood was about 10 years back, before all the MCU movies started tanking?
No, we were always ahead. We were always contemporary with Hollywood. In fact, they started it, but we were also having Golmaal series, and there were so many series which even we produced. Hera Fairy was already there. So it's a novel for us, but yes, the franchisee itself has a great value. Now, if they do Fast and Furious, and if they do Mission Impossible, we also do. We will start doing now with Pathan and Jawan. Now we have already
or Pathan versus Tiger, or Tiger versus Pathan.
We have actually started taking hold of the spy universe, which is doing amazingly. There are already 4 films which are super hit from Yashraj, and that spy universe is going to grow. With like Spy Universe, we have a lot of franchises like Gadar and Welcome and Hera Fairy. So they always score. Now Animal will also have a sequel to it.
Animal Farm.
Animal Farm. So we were always there with the sequels. There were always acceptability for the franchisee, and looking at the great success of Spy Universe, I think we will be doing a lot of work on Spy Universe, as well as there are already talks about Dhoom also, which will be reviving in the franchise.
And Geeta, what's your prediction? What's going to be the biggest movie of 24?
Well, I know for a fact that action will continue, and I'm looking forward to Fighter, because we want to see the Desi version of Top Gun, I guess, with Hrithik.
Of course.
There
Who
in
else
it.
to play?
Who else
Tom
to play
Cruise
that?
But Hrithik.
So yeah, you know, so there'll be that, and then hoping to see the Ranveer Singh and Ranveer Kapoor's films, because they are these two guys who are really exciting. Because for me, I think the 2023 film that's really stood out was Rocky or Rani, because it brought in a lot of things that you normally don't.
Not animal.
Not animal. Sorry. Women have disappeared in all of these. You know,
Geeta's studied silence on animal shall be recorded.
Yes.
Girish, what's your prediction for 24? Is it as Mike says?
Next year will be for Akshay Kumar. He has got 3 releases.
Right.
So there will be a big Akshay Kumar. Then we have Fighter, of course, with Hrithik Roshan.
Yeah.
We have Vijay Sethupath's Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yes.
And then we have got lot of films. But yes, the major releases from the A-list stars are of Akshay Kumar.
Yeah.
And I certainly believe that action genre is there to continue. And with Akshay Kumar, we will have a lot of action which will be seen in the coming year.
Right. With that, we end our discussion. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. Mayank, Girish and Geeta, we keep watching this fascinating return of Bollywood, the year that Bollywood discovered its animal spirits, if you will. Brands like Xerox and Cola have become generic words for a type of product. In India, Bajaj has become a generic word for mobility. And joining me on the show is my colleague Amit Ranjan, who's put together this series of Bharat Brands of India, very fascinating series on all those iconic Indian brands. And today we are talking about Bajaj. Amit, I want to ask you the obvious question, why Bajaj? But how did Bajaj stay relevant for so long is the question that I have.
You answered part of it in your introduction. It has become synonymous with mobility. And they have stayed with the times.
Right.
They were the biggest brands in scooters through the 70s, 80s and 90s. In the early 2000s, they moved to motorcycles.
Right.
And were in pole positions even in that.
Yeah.
They did away with scooters towards the end of the 2000s
Sure.
because that was a market that was stagnating and going down. They are relaunching Chetak, their big scooter brand, in the EV avatar.
EV avatar, of course.
Now, so they have stayed with the times and they have stayed relevant, and they have always maintained pole position.
Pole position. And they stayed with the times, that's an important thing. But, you know, I want to take you back, since we're on this nostalgia trip with Bajaj as well. Tell us about 2005. Why is that such a big turnaround year for Bajaj?
That was a time when Rajiv Bajaj had taken over the mantle, just after he had taken over, and he had decided to concentrate on motorcycles. But that was also the time when somebody who came from far behind, Hero Honda, had overtaken Bajaj and taken #1 position, and Bajaj had become #2 in two-wheeler mobility. Probably because also, as our episode suggests, it was a transition time. Till the 1990s and early 2000s, Bajaj commanded about years and years of waiting time to get a Bajaj scooter. And they were probably living in the legacy of the past.
Of course, that legacy of socialist India, where you had to wait for everything from a gas connection to a phone line to
But post 1991, things were changing fast.
Yes.
And probably Bajaj took time to keep up or match up to the times, changing times.
Yeah.
Which they did eventually, but at that time, that was the transition time when Honda did overtake Bajaj.
Of course, but that's the great story here that we're talking about in our series, Bharat Brands of India. You can watch this particular story and more such stories only on the News9 Plus app. Download and watch.